So how y'all doing today? Hey, so I just wanted to chat with you a little bit today about things that I'm going through personally on a personal level. As far as like today, I'm extremely sick today. Extremely sick. You can see it in my eyes, you can hear it in my throat. Feel it in my lungs, my body, my head. My head is screaming, panicky, anxious, all the above. So it's one of those days where I have to cope and adapt, but it is all self-induced. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of my history. I grew up on a lake, contacted Lyme disease as a kid. They didn't know what it was. They called it encephalitis the first time. Then I would go to Virginia every summer, and I went to Virginia. I think I was like 17, and I got bit by another tick. At this point, I was already compromised because the previous tick bite had attacked me as a kid, and you know, and most of my understanding, you know, I developed very, very late, and I really honestly think had a lot to do with the Lyme disease, because Lyme disease does attack your hormones. Everything in my life was later. It was like slow speed for me to mature physically, but I mean, when I did, it was, you know, awesome result. But you know, I mean, it's, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant that I got big finally. I was a skinny little kid, and I worked my ass off to look like this, folks. My ass off. I wouldn't grow. I think I weighed like 115. I mean, I was just tiny. I think I wrestled at that or something. So anyway, something crazy like that. So, obviously I'm not now. And, and in the process of, finding out what's wrong with me now, the lack of testosterone and starting testosterone for the first time in my life, I'm realizing that I think I've been missing this for a majority of my life. Just in the way I feel and the way I think like that way. Just say sexual. Just in all those ways. I mean, when I started getting really sick about 4 years ago, I mean, I really was heading I was asexual. I didn't think about it, didn't want it, didn't care about it. So I made it a point to masturbate every day because I wasn't giving it up, you know. But in finding that, you know, I had the tumor in my brain, and then, you know, the Lyme disease added to that, you know, my pituitary controls all those hormones, and how messed up the pituitary has caused my health. You know, now it's, you know, what it's done to me is crazy, you know. So I have Cushing's disease, or it's just called Cushing's. It's just, I produce too much cortisol. It's not a disease. It's just, I produce too much cortisol because of the tumor. I produce too much lactin, which is women when they have breast milk and they give birth. My boobs actually started getting fat in them. I mean, I had fat deposits in my chest. My nipples were just raw and leaking crap out of them. I mean, that's what I've been going through for the past 5 years. So it's like, and discovering this and going to doctor and giving up and starting all over again. And it's been a long couple of years. So anyway, let's get back to the point of the testosterone and lacking that, and lacking the immune system to be able to ward off things in life, you know. So when I got Lyme the second time, I was young. I drove back from Virginia, and had the best summer of my whole damn life ever. That was my awakening summer. I left driving home down to the last minute like a teenager does, and I drove straight through from Virginia, and I think it was like, I don't know, some crazy amount of hours. Let's just say it's not advisable. Arrived home, said hi to my mom, went downstairs, and that's about it. That's all I remember. The one vision I have in my brain is all the little spiders on the TV, and that was back in the day. You know, I was still a kid, and I remember that, and I remember being very sick. I remember I was in the hospital. I had extremely high fever. It wasn't conscious, but I pulled through, and the doctors were just, we don't know what's wrong with him. Let's call it encephalitis again. So that's what they did. Or this time it was meningitis. Because my brain was so swollen. So then I left and went on with school and my life and all that, but I never recovered from that illness. I was never really school oriented in the first place. I just had a fascination with learning, but not, it was just, school was just too slow of a process to me. But you know, I still had the American given to me dream in my brain that I had to do and all that crap. So I tried, but my short-term memory was just gone from the tick bite and the fever. It was probably from the fever. My immune system was crapping out at that point. I was just fatigued all the fucking time. Just fatigued. Okay, so, but at this point they had no name for it. They didn't call it Lyme or whatever. So then we get to the later part of life, and you know, I go through a lot of stress. I get married. The marriage was beyond stressful. And I caused myself, and I say I caused myself the stress by staying there and doing it for my children for 13 years, which I advise never to do. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for the children. It's not worth it for you. It's not worth it for the family. It's not worth it. They're growing up. Because it's going to be bad no matter what time you choose. It's just going to be bad. When you have two adults that just don't get along. Anyway, let's stay on the subject here. Let's stay on the subject. So, all that stress, 34 years old, I got very ill. I mean, just ill. I mean, I got bit by a tick. I remember the day. I remember I was out working on the farm, and I remember looking down at my forearm. And see, the thing of it is that I never got bullseyes from any of my tick bites. Okay, so know that. Bullseye does not mean you have Lyme disease. Okay, that's bullshit. Looked down, had a tick, pulled it off. I'm kind of paranoid of ticks anyway, so I remember that one. Went inside. 48 hours later, life turned upside down. So I'd already been infected, already had it. You don't get rid of Lyme. It just doesn't go away. Only thing you can do is put it in remission. So, being bit with a different strain, because they carry all kinds of different stuff, every tick. So, being bit with a third strain put me down. I mean, it paralyzed me. It took away my brain. I had to get a pacemaker put in because my heart was just beating no beats when I slept, skipping every third beat. I was getting blood clots on the left side of my body. I was falling apart. I mean, my appendix burst. And I wish I would have known all this, because I could have cured and kept my organs, but I didn't know what's going on with me. I mean, appendix, and then gallbladder. Then at that point, they were going to take my spleen. I'm like, no, you're not taking my spleen. I mean, that's enough, you know, and just wasn't getting figured out. And I was doing all the research I could, but I'd seen Lyme quite a few times in my research. And one of our friends was diagnosed with Lyme, and it was actually my ex-wife's sister. Her whole family has Lyme, and as well as my kids have Lyme, and as well as my ex-wife have Lyme, and she brought it herself, because her family's loaded with Lyme. She's from Boston, so that's my ex-wife. So I'm from Midwest, and Midwest, it's very prevalent everywhere in the world. There's no excuses anymore. It's everywhere. Birds fly everywhere in the world, and human beings do too. So if you think it's only in one part of the world, that's craziness. So anyway, I got bit that third time. It was bad. I mean, it was bad. It's about as bad as you get. But I did promise my boy I'd get better, and I took it upon myself to go after my health. And I did every bit of research I could. I was on salt therapy, vitamin C therapy. I was on penicillin because I finally found a Lyme doctor that could only practice in Washington, but she couldn't practice in Oregon. So I would have to go up there, and it was just a process because I had to pay for everything because insurance doesn't pay for those kind of Lyme disease kind of affiliations. And I went and got the test, and bam, I mean, I had every band on the chart, and I learned that you do not do a CDD set test. You do not just do a regular test. You do the proper testing, and there's only a couple facilities that do the proper testing. Bans everywhere because the CDC wants you to fail because it's quote a disease that they can't cure or make any money off it. Well, they make money off you by not diagnosing it. But anyway, and you guys can go read about that, about Lyme and how all that happened, and you know, with the deer population, and it's kind of like the same thing as COVID. I mean, I really think Lyme and COVID were designed together, and not together, but they were designed for a purpose. And Lyme was designed to kill people, but it was too slow of a death. So I don't know. Anyway, well, COVID, it fell out of the lab, and look what happened there too. So got to be a little bit more paying attention that we're human beings and we can change ourselves really quick with just one little slip of a gene. Anyway, so Lyme, bam, got it. 34 years old. Stopped working. I had to stop working. I mean, I basically could not do nothing other than take care of the kids. So I became Mr. Mom, and that was the best part of the whole process, was being Mr. Mom. But I was so sick. I didn't enjoy much of it. I was just so sick. But I was there, and I participated, and that was an awesome thing I got to do instead of working 60 hours a week on my company. So anyway, I got really sick. Took me 2 years of penicillin I think it was every 3 days. $65 a shot at first, then it went up to $150. I did that for 2 years. I spent a lot of money, and they say that about Lyme people, that you spend an average of $60,000 to get to at least a diagnosis, and then you got to get to a cure because the insurance company doesn't cover it. So I spent a lot of money, a lot of money, trying to get better, and I did. And then in the process, I discovered this thing behind me. So in 1950, I can't bring the exact things, but a guy named Rife designed this machine behind us. So all you musicians out there, open your ears. Hey, so vibration will break a glass. But what is that vibration? That's a frequency. So your guitars all give off frequencies. So this machine behind me is a frequency machine. It gives off frequencies through that vacuum tube on top. And the unit in the middle is called a MOPA. It is an amplifier. And the unit below is the computer brain, which is a minor amplifier, but with the MOPA, it basically spreads it out throughout the room. So, basic theory Rife had is he actually did document and get rid of cancer in people. Okay, so this is the theory. You send a vibration, a certain frequency, and you look at it underneath a microscope, which is painstaking, but this guy did it, and he discovered which frequency injured the cell. Now remember that. He never got to directly kill a cell underneath a microscope. Was never capable or able to do it with the technology back then. I have no clue about now. I should look that up. But what the frequency did is like a glass. It gave it a crack. It injured it enough that it couldn't replicate, and it slowly died. And that's called a Herxheimer reaction. And that's when you get sick. So like Lyme disease, majority of the pain and the sickness that comes from Lyme disease is the spiralets dying. So it's the toxins when they die that makes you sick, gives you the headaches, the joint pain, the craziness. It's all of that. Okay, so what you have to do is I saunaed every day, worked out every day, ate proper, and drank a shitload of water. And I did that every day, non-stop, because I had to. And I did that for 2 years with this machine behind us called a Rife machine. And I designed all my frequencies, all my own programs. And that machine was one of the tools. I'm saying it's not the machine that got me to 100% well, but it's one of the tools, and that's what you have to do in naturalistic health. You have to use all the tools available to you. So that machine was one of the tools that broke down as many as it could. And I mean, it's painful. To me, it makes me violently sick. Okay, so I'm sick today because at this point I am treating EBV, which we all have in our bodies, and cancer. Okay, but EBV is associated with my cancer, and I will explain that in the next video. But today I wanted to introduce my machine. This machine is my life. I bought this machine. We bought 5 of them together for our whole family when I was married, and that was probably 10 years ago. I've had that same machine. I've had to rehab it a couple times. That machine's very expensive. They're awesome machines. But always go with the better brand, a MOPA. And this brand here is the best. I have a guy out of Wyoming who is just amazing. He customer support. guides you through. He's the one that first helped me 10 years ago, and he's still around. You call him, he calls you back in a couple days. He's amazing. Anyway, that machine can cure almost everything, okay? Not cure, but injure. Let's say the word injure, okay? So I use that for my colds. I use that for Lyme. And see, when I had Lyme, I had Bartonella, I had human granulitis, human uricula, I said Bartonella, and I had Babesia. And then on top of that, I had EBV, I had walking pneumonia. I mean, all these things take over because your immune system gets compromised. So, so this machine helped me one by one break them down, and it took me almost 2 years being extremely sick like I am today. Today I'm having a hurt time reaction because yesterday I treated for cancer and EBV. I'm extremely sick. You don't see it. My head hurts. I feel like I got the flu. I threw up yesterday after the gym. I mean, this morning, nauseous. It's awesome because I'm doing it to myself, but I also do all the protocols too. I do salt. I'm doing vitamin C. I'm doing, I can never say this one right. Ashwagandha, which is amazing. I'm looking for Milan, which is an incredible anti-inflammatory, tons of turmeric, and I'm doing the purple diet. So I have 2 shakes a day, and I do it usually with about 18 eggs, and only whites because I put up my cholesterol too much trying to gain weight, and not the right thing to do. So anyway, and I do that with all purple vegetables right now and kale to pull me out, and the celery. Now, I don't know if celery kills EBV, but it's like, somebody said it a long time ago, and so, but I use the celery mostly as a hard substance to clean out my intestines as it goes down there, pick up all the toxins, push out all the bad things, get rid of the dead cancer cells, whatever it's got to get rid of, okay? So celery is a real good fiber. It picks up things and pushes it through you, and it makes a hell of a difference. In even if you just look down and see your belly will eventually flatten, okay? But yeah, stay away from the sugar. That's the biggest thing. Sugar kills Americans, okay? Okay, you can do honey, but skip all the rest because you'll never get anywhere without stopping the sugar. No matter what, you're not going to get anywhere without stopping sugar, okay? Sugar is the #1 killer. Anyway, so this machine behind me is part of my tools. I do it probably 2 to 4 hours a day if I know I'm not working or have any responsibilities and not driving, because it does make you very, very ill. And you can push it as far as you want. You can do it once a week. You can do it once a month. I do it every day. I'm a glutton for punishment, but I'm also tired of feeling like crap. I'm tired of being sick, folks. So, I mean, I have thyroid issues. I have pituitary issues. I have my prostate, which is 3 times the size. I have the high PSA that went from 5 to 6 to 7 to now 10 and above 10 now in like a matter of 2 months. Boom, just like that. Lost weight, 45 pounds. Bam, I'm to that doctor because I already knew I was sick, but I had gone through some stress during that period, and it knocked me out that final straw. So right now, I just finished up with the prostate doctor. He's moving me on to the next level. He said I'm complicated. So I'm moving up to the Cancer Institute with the help of my doctor here, Dr. Cruz, who is an amazing blood doctor that I hope he got me. He's amazing. Yesterday, he listened to everything I asked. I said, take this theory in your head. I said, I've managed to hold this off for 5 years, haven't I? And because of the way I diet, the way I work out, I mean, I'm insane about that stuff because when I'm in pain, I work out harder. So it's just my thing. And he believed my theory. He said, you've held it in check, but something broke. And so it's gaining ground on me, and I lost all that weight, and my PSA went up the craziest. And then they found the other tumor down by there. So now I have a 3.5, 3/4, whatever, 4-inch thing down there. Now they got to go look at. So with my hormone problems and this going on, it's hard to balance my life. So I don't just sit here, folks. I watch a lot of videos, and I watch a lot of music, and I talk to a lot of people, but I'm on this machine because I want to get better. And we can talk more about it. It's called Royal Rife is his name. It's from the 50s. He designed it. It was amazing. The government took it apart. When I originally bought this machine, you have to buy it in 3 pieces because they won't sell it together because it actually does its job. It injures the cells and it gets you better. It gets you better. Remember, cancer, chemo. Chemo is just poison. That's all it is. That's all it is. All it does is kill that cell, but it kills you too. Okay? Poison. MS, the drugs you give you from MS. poison, and we will talk more about that. Its association to Lyme, all these associations to Lyme. Okay, and we'll talk more about that later. But hey, God, I got so many subjects going on here. So anyway, I wanted to just basically introduce my machine today, and this machine is a very, very important part of my recovery here. I know that it'll probably take a while, but see, the government didn't want it to be mass produced because of there's no money in it. There's money in giving you drugs and having you come back and see this doctor, that specialist, that doctor. I only went to one doctor and they said, you got Lyme disease, but I'd been to 20 doctors before that one. Okay, 20. Talk about waste of healthcare, insurance, money, people's time, everybody's time, even the doctor's time. Okay, the doctors could be saving that time and being in the laboratory, getting us cured to everything else. So anyway, I'm just saying that our system's so bad, it self-defeats itself everywhere you turn, everywhere you turn. So you have to be your own advocate. You have to be your own advocate. You have a brain and you have a will to get better. You have to have two, okay? And then you got to have a soul to back it up. So research, figure it out, ask around, go on forums. I mean, I support the Lyme forums. I'm on there working with people all the time. I'm always helping people and giving back to show what I have gotten. Now, I backed off a lot because I'm in my own treatment now, and it takes a toll on me. Today sucks. I mean, I can't stand sitting in here today, but I'm sick. And my brain's not right now. I'm having a hard time balance, everything. I killed something, right? I injured something really bad yesterday. Anyway, so let's hope it's a cancer. Let's hope it's the EBV. Anyway, so that is the initial introduction to this process that I am going through. Like I said, my doctor is sending me off to another cancer institute next, and I am being tested for titers for EBV to see if it is active with the help of my doctor, because I begged him, and see, he listens to me. He listens to me. And you know what his number one thing he said to me? He said, JP, when you go into the doctor up at the institute, shut your mouth. I'm like, what? He goes, shut your mouth. He goes, it's the way you look. It's the way you talk. And he said, that intimidates a lot of doctors. He said, let them ask the questions, provide them the facts. And so, hey, yeah, I do, because I have been fighting for my life a lot. I mean, the last 5 years of trying to get to a diagnosis, I haven't even gotten to a diagnosis. It's cancer. I just haven't even gotten to the diagnosis yet of where it's gone, where it's coming from, if I have an EBV, I mean, where this is all coming from. Okay, so I'm still working on that one. I mean, Lyme disease was a challenge to get there. I mean, I spent 2 years just getting to my first titers saying I'm positive, okay, and I blew off the charts of that. So what I'm saying is that you have to be your own advocate. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to know, I'm 55 years old. 55 years old. But see, having Lyme and all this has taught me to take better care of myself. I mean, honestly, I really wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have picked up those weights at 8 years old. I would not be here. I would not be here if I wouldn't have gone through what I went through as my childhood with my dad and the drinking with my dad. I would not be here because that taught me to be JP. So JP today is introducing you to, I'm going to call just MOPA. I don't know if it's a Mr. or Mrs. It's just MOPA. It's called Royal Rife. Y'all look it up now, you hear? Anyway, hey, I hope you have a good day, and we will have a couple series of these. We will talk more about Lyme disease next and its effect on the hormone system and how it blocks it down, and how Lyme is actually in the syphilis family. That's why it's a spirulate bacteria. Hey, also, I have posted some videos in there on COVID and its connection to EBV and the people who die. Okay, so that's a very important one. EBV affects your lungs and your immune system. So they're finding that EBV is testing positive in the people who are the most sickest and who have the long-term COVID. So something to look at, folks, and that is in there. You need to go in there and check out some of my videos. I look at a lot of videos. I'm a researcher. So go in there, check out some of my stuff. Hey, you all have a good day out there on YouTube and Facebook. I love you very much, and peace out from JP Blake Live. Love your neighbor, love yourself, and we'll get you back, and I will talk more about Lyme. Have a good day.